gems to be snapped up before they disappeared forever. Spells and curses, dance and trance. The other method was up for grabs. Tangier was the prognostic pulse of the world, as the old man declared. CD operators packed the international zone Hawkeye. The indefatigable facility, Duchess of Wind, British intelligence, trailing suitcases and native bearers across the circle heading for the cheapest pension. She would keep a firm green eye on Bedar for the rest of his life. The exception, the one he really likes, but he saw her coming. How long are you here for? And for any particular reason, he said. She said. They chased him out eventually. The old trick, waving so much money under your nose you really believe you're going to get your hands around a whole lot of it someday soon. And then taking you to the cleaners. You'll never see another dime. Green eyes on Bedar for the rest of his life. Forever spells and curses. Time. Tricky business. He was out with the shirt on his back, with a few tricks up his sleeve.
The question used to be, can a white boy play the blues? And the answer is, who really gives a fuck? There was a 16-year-old white American boy who came from a good family. He was lean and muscular, worked out until he was 15, thought America was the greatest place on earth. Then he discovered drugs and rock and roll, and then he discovered sex. Can a boy like that take within himself the spirit of Hassani Saba, the old man of the mountain, the guy who said, nothing is true and everything is permitted? The man who discovered marijuana gave us the concept of assassination made a merit of nihilism. The boy's recollections concerned ball games, the first Beastie Boys album, putting in bedtime with his older brother's chick. Her name was Joni. She had a reputation for dexterity and innovation. She looked like Debbie Harry, younger of course, but not so sexy. The past is just the past, neutral and irrelevant. The future is a different country. They're going to have to do things differently there. The boy walked down the steps into the toilet. He could hear LL Cool J rapping in the background, probably that black record shop he used to frequent. He grabbed another white boy, about his own build and age, who was just standing around. He took out his knife with the sharpened 8-inch blade, slid it ruthlessly through the boy's Pearl Jam t-shirt and on into his left kidney. Then, while his victim was howling like a pig in a slaughterhouse, having fallen to the ground, he removed the blade from the kidney and applied it to the victim's throat. That was when the blood really started to flow. It was a professional hit. He dropped the knife on the ground and walked calmly up the steps away from the toilet. LL was still rapping. The assassin was covered in blood, but at least he was heading towards the future.
Me painting a huge picture, I don't know how many feet by how many feet, some 15 feet by 25 feet or something on a big roll of paper, which William lost, strangely enough. He moved out of the apartment and forgot to take that with him. Literature was 50 years at least behind painting and the discoveries that had come in the early part of the century, when the first gesture was really throwing sand onto the canvas, whereby the whole matter, the matière as the French call it, of painting was radically changed. It was no longer what it had been since, at least since the Renaissance, of pigments applied in a medium of oil to a canvas or a gesso-covered wooden surface, and then developed from there to whatever effects could be obtained. No, it had become really something, as we know painting now, begins really with sand thrown into the paint on the canvas.
Intrigue among the souls and treachery. No worse fate can befall a man than to be surrounded by traitor souls. Can any soul survive the searing fireball of an atomic blast? If human and animal souls are seen as electromagnetic force fields, such fields can be totally disrupted by a nuclear explosion. The mummy's nightmare, disintegration of souls. And this is precisely the ultra-secret and super-sensitive function of the atom bomb. A soul killer to alleviate an escalating soul glut. Scientists always said there's no such thing as a soul. Now they're in a position to prove it. Total death, soul death, is what the Egyptians call the second and final death. This awesome power to destroy souls forever is now vested in far-sighted and responsible men in the State Department, the CIA, and the Pentagon. Governments fall from sheer indifference. Authority figures, deprived of the vampiric energy they suck off their constituents, are seen for what they are. Dead, empty mass, manipulated by computers. And what is behind the computers? Remote control, of course. Look at the prison you are in. We are all in. This is a penal colony that is now a death camp. Place to the second and final death. Desperation is the raw material of drastic change.